Today we're going to talk about trust. Welcome to Proverb a Day, or Proverb each day. trying to pick a name that would not conflict with maybe some other people have done this. I don't know. Trying to be unique. Try to be unique and blows up in your face. It's all good. It's all good. I don't know why I don't have a name tag today. My name is DJ Eshelman, if you don't know. Thanks for joining me today. Good to be here with you. And I'm just going to make sure that all is good before I start continuing here. And not sure about this here. Sure. So we'll make sure we're actually live on our platforms this morning because, you never know. All right, well, I'm going to hope we're on at least Facebook. It looks like YouTube might be delayed a little bit. But, sure, we're actually live on our platform. Yeah, there we go. Okay, great. All right, let's get into this. So, Proverbs 3. And if you're new to our process here, we read a proverb each day of the month. And it works out well because there are 31 proverbs. And so a lot of months we can do 31. Other months we'll do 30. Or maybe that just weird month of the year we do less than that. We'll just stack on more towards the end. Trying to go live every day and make this a thing. Mostly just to keep me accountable and make sure that I'm reading a proverb each day. I'm just inviting you along the ride for not just for posterity's sake, but also because, hey, why not? So if you're here with me, you can say hi in the chat or comments area, and I hopefully should see that if I've connected everything right and go along here. But let's go ahead and get started as we do each morning with a bit of prayer. So Father God, thank you so much for all the things you've blessed us with, all the environments that you put us in that have blessings for us. So Father, today we seek to understand not only wisdom, but also the application in our lives today, not just theory, but actual application in our lives. So Father, may the meditations of my heart and the words of my mouth be honoring to you in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. All right, let's do this. All right, Proverbs 3. Reading from the English Standard Version this month. Again, I'm going to be doing a different translation most months just to kind of mix it up and have that. So yeah, it'll be fun. So Proverbs 3, trust in the Lord with all your heart. My son, do not forget my teaching, but let your heart keep my commandments. For the length of days and years of life and peace they will add to you. Let not steadfast love and faithfulness forsake you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart, so you will find favor and good success in the sight of God and man. And here's the verse that everybody knows and memorized as children maybe. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight, or straight your paths. See, I'm already going from memory. Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord, and turn away from evil. You will be healing to your flesh and refreshment to your bones. Let's pause there for a second. So I like this, not just from a perspective of it's good poetry, because it is actually really good poetry. It flows well. It is something that actually has translated well over the years, and I'm always curious. I attempted Hebrew studies in college, and I failed. Literally, I had to drop that class. So I wish I was a person that could grasp other languages well. I struggle enough with this one, but nonetheless, this is a great passage that really, as we were talking about previously, makes it so that we are acknowledging where our understanding comes from, and it's not from us. And we're not leaning on our understanding. We are leaning on the knowledge and wisdom that God gives us. And we do that through the reading of his word and listening, prayer, meditation, these kind of things. But I love verse 7. Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord. Turn away from evil. And you're noticing like we noted yesterday, some patterns here. And so this, as far as the poetry of this, most translations do exactly what you're seeing on the screen here, where it's breaking up into sections, the various pieces of this, which is a blessing, because you're able to kind of make that into something that you can internalize more easily. That's what makes Proverbs so awesome, is that you can actually have these little passages that you can repeat throughout your day. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he'll make straight your paths. These are the kind of things you can repeat over and over again. So I love it. It's very awesome stuff. But let's continue. Honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of your produce. Then your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats bursting with wine. That's something we don't talk about. We don't talk about what the Bible has to say about money, has to say about wealth. We get caught in these stigmas that are I don't know where they came from, to be honest with you. I think there's a lot of ways that Satan has managed to convince those of the faith that wealth is somehow bad, because it's just selfish, that sort of thing. Well, biblical wealth is not that. This is why. So we're saying, honor the Lord with your wealth, and with the first fruits of your produce. In other words, when you have increase in your life, God should be first in that, and you honor that first. And so you're immediately submitting that part of your wealth, usually 10% or wherever you're at. But that's the kind of the biblical default is that 10% of the first fruits. And so you're doing that. You're submitting that. You're not only trusting that, but you're recognizing that the wealth doesn't come from you. It's yours to enjoy. It's yours to use for the betterment of the kingdom and for the betterment of your own household. But ultimately, the wealth is God's. And so when you walk in wisdom, wealth is something that you are walking in as well. And it says right here, again, this is that whole why then promise, why then promise, why then promise. So honor the Lord with your wealth, then your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats will be bursting with wine. I mean, I enjoy some wine every now and then. It'd be nice to have some, but this is more of referring to something that could be enjoyed by many, resold. Who knows what that exactly looks like as far as the vats bursting with wine, but it does indicate that you will have more than enough, not just for yourself, but for others as well. And that kind of multiplies. And that's the cool thing about this. So in other words, what we're seeing here is honoring the Lord with your wealth, first fruits, tithing, giving, making that your priority leads to abundance beyond what you need. Sometimes we get so caught up in our own needs and our own desires, even sometimes, that we can't look past that. We live in scarcity, and that's not where God lives. God lives in abundance. Verse 11, my son, do not despise the Lord's discipline, or be weary of his reproof. For the Lord reproves those whom he loves, and the Father the Son whom he delights. As the Father the Son in whom he delights. Yeah, it's hard for us to say, submitting ourselves to discipline is a good thing, but that is how we grow. That is how we do that. So it is one of those things where it's we need to be more willing to do that in our lives. I know, I certainly do. Blessed is the one who finds wisdom. Verse 13, blessed is the one who finds wisdom and the one who gets understanding. For the gain from her is better than start that over. Verse 14. For the gain from her is better than gain from silver, and her profit better than gold. She is more precious than jewels, and nothing you can desire can compare with her. Long life is in her right hand. In her left hand are riches and honor. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to those who lay hold of her. Those who hold her fast are called blessed. So hopefully you're adjustment here. You're seeing here the difference maker here. There we go. I don't know why my picture disappeared, but I'm back. So I mentioned in the very first introduction, in the very first episode, that wisdom is sometimes portrayed as female. Sophia is the name here, and so this is our introduction to that. And so you can see that we've now had a gender assigned to this, and people get hung up on that. But a lot of times, this is a literary device to draw a distinction between when we're talking about wisdom as a character, not just as a concept, which is hard for a lot of people to grasp, and that's okay. It takes some time. It takes some walking with this. But if you think about this as something that's signaling to you that you need to seek out wisdom the way a man seeks out a woman and is interested in, it's a very, very similar process, and that is something that you need to embrace and understand. And so that's why I think that it's called out like this as well. But there's some other things that go into that as well. There's a lot that has been talked about over the years and things like that, but it's easy to miss the point. The point is blessing, promise, delivered. So blessed is the one who finds wisdom, gets understanding. The gain from her is better than gain from silver, and profit better than gold. Now, I just finished talking about wealth. We just were looking at that and that increase. And so what it's doing here is drawing a distinction and saying that being wise is more important than being rich. And so that is drawing that distinction here. And so nothing you can desire can compare with her. That's a pretty bold statement when you think about the riches we're talking about, the abundance. So yeah, that's awesome. Let's move on though. Verse 19. Oh my gosh. Whew. Just having a morning this morning. The Lord by wisdom founded the earth. By understanding he established the heavens. By his knowledge the deeps broke open and the clouds dropped down the dew. My son, do not lose sight of these. Keep sound wisdom and discretion, that they will be life for your soul and adornment for your neck. Then you will walk in your way securely, and your foot will not stumble. If you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. Do not be afraid of sudden terror, or of the ruin of the wicked when it comes. For the Lord will be your confidence, and will keep your foot from being caught. Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due, when it is in your power to do it. So you see a shift here. We've shifted into more practical instruction here for the son character, the target of these that we're benefiting from all these years later. And honestly, it's talking to human nature here, and human fears and human frailties that we're speaking to, and saying again that why, and then the promise. For the Lord will be your confidence, and will keep your foot from being caught. In other words, it is our nature to try and figure this out on our own and make our confidence in ourselves, to be prideful. And that's not what wisdom is calling for here. Wisdom is calling for resting in the Lord for that confidence and embracing that, not being just a puppet. That's not what this is saying. It is saying that as far as where that confidence comes from, it's not from, oh yeah, I figured that out, look how good I am. It's more of, God blessed me with this understanding. The very, very big difference here. So Anyway, let's go on with verse 28, and we'll finish out for the day. Do not say to your neighbor, "Go and come again. Tomorrow I will give it," when you have it with you now. Do not plan evil against your neighbor who dwells trustingly beside you. Do not contend with a man for no reason when he has done you no harm. Let me come back to that in a minute. Do not envy a man of violence, and do not choose any of his ways. For the devious person is an abomination to the Lord, and the upright are in his confidence. The Lord's curse is on the house of the wicked, but he blesses the dwelling of the righteous. Toward the scorners he is scornful, but to the humble he gives favor. The wise will inherit honor, but fools get disgrace. This morning, just before our time together here, I was thinking about an incident that occurred. I am part of several in entrepreneurial content creator type groups, and there was an incident a few years ago where I was talking about a book I was working on, or a project I was working on about fasting, and I found myself suddenly attacked because this person was a homosexual Jew and was offended by the fact that I was talking about fasting in a Christian context or something. I don't know. So it was this whole "do not contend with a man for no reason when he has done you no harm." I didn't do or say anything to anyone that there was anything other than, "Hey, I'm looking at writing a project. Would anyone like to view my progress and give me feedback?" That's all I wanted. So I wasn't like attacking anyone or anything like that. Yet someone else chose to do this, and it was a traumatic thing for me. I still feel a trauma from it. I was a victim of this. Essentially, I was attacked because of my beliefs in such a way that was very like threatening. He tried to get me kicked out of the group. He just was that visceral about it, and I never understood why. That I was suddenly the target of this person's attacks, and it was traumatic. It really was. But ultimately, this last verse here: the wise will inherit honor, the fools get disgrace. I don't know what this is going to look like in the end. I don't know. But honestly, I have to remember that there's a lot of things that the character that we mentioned on day one, the fool character in Proverbs, is a very common thing that we're going to hear more and more of as we go along. I would say that there's a pity that I think is here, and I actually attempt to feel for those that are foolish, that are walking outside of wisdom, because that's what they are, and they're fools if they're walking outside of wisdom. And I hate to have to say that, and who knows, I might get hate just for having said that, but I'm just reading the words here. It's not me saying it is God saying it here, and so take it up with him, I guess, is the message there. But I guess the takeaway for me today is to have that distinction of do I be a selfish person who leans on my own understanding and therefore becomes a fool, or do I become the person who is giving it to God first and embracing that as the wisdom and growing from that as a person, knowing full well that there's more to be had than I can even possibly imagine. And that has been true. I look back 10 years of my life, and it's funny because technically speaking, 10 years ago, I was making more income than I am today, but I have felt how the results of leaning into those blessings, where today I work a lot less. I don't have as many needs. I'm not on a plane every single day going out, or not every single day, every single week, making it way more dramatic than it was, but it was still pretty, a lot of sacrifices that I was doing back in the day. But I'm not in that place anymore. I'm not, getting on a plane on Sunday, flying to some random place in the United States or Canada or wherever, and away from my family for a week, and then coming back and then spending a day or two with them, and then flying right back out again. That was my life. That was what it was. And again, from a wealth perspective or a riches perspective, yes, I was making technically more, but I have been blessed in that set me up for certain things. God has put things in my life that we might talk about at some point. I've gone longer than I wanted to today, but there's a lot of that comes not from my own understanding. It's not something that I can lean on and say, oh yes, I learned these lessons. No, it has been God taking care of me through this and setting up things in what I do, because I'm willing to walk in wisdom, because I'm willing to give him the first fruits, because I'm willing to do all these things. I am not a person of like, I can't teach you what has gone right, because they haven't been from me. They've been from God. And so maybe someday I'll be able to put this into something that is workable for people. But honestly, the honest truth of it is that God has worked this in my life, and it's been for my wife and I. That has been the purpose, and it's been solely for that purpose. And they're not my actions. Should say they are my actions, but they weren't my intent. And so that's amazing thing how God works with that. And so that is the benefit here of not being a fool, of not leaning on my own understanding, of being someone who is denying what they have and saying, oh, well, yeah, I know I have it, but I'm not going to give it. I'm not going to be blessing anyone else with it. I'm just going to keep that to myself, or I'm not going to be scheming, that sort of thing. We're not going to, take offense at someone and just attack them and go after them. That's not something that a wise person does. That's something a fool does. And so, because I haven't been living in that, there's been benefits beyond what I can even describe or imagine. And sometimes they are just benefits of peace. They're not necessarily like I'm going out and buying a Bentley or whatever. No. I do drive a BMW though, and it was out of those results. There's some things about that are really great. And so my encouragement to you today is to walk in that wisdom and not lean into the worldly things that we're seeing, but to lean into that wisdom and not be a fool. So we'll be back tomorrow, even though it is a holiday here in the United States. We're still going to honor this commitment to a proverb each day. And so I will be back here with you, and I will see you then. In the meantime, be blessed by the best.